up? Welcome to episode 40 of Invisible Walls. I cannot believe we recorded, 39. This will be number 40. I cannot believe we've got this far already.
Middle-aged.
Seems like just yesterday we recorded our first episode trying to figure the whole thing out. But here we are, the 40th episode, second episode of 2009.
Still trying to figure the whole thing
out.
Still
trying to figure the whole thing out. I think we're doing okay, though. We do have a pretty awesome show today. Sitting in with me is the man who does not want to be called grumpy anymore, Marcus.
Hello, Sweden. I'm sorry. Starbreeze is from Sweden, not Finland. I apologize.
We have Michael sitting in on the show today.
Back from my winter hibernation.
Yep. Daniel Bloodworth is back from the CES,
Uh-huh.
as is Mr. Ryan Stevens.
Also, hey. And a nani.
Should be a good show. Stick around. All right, first off, we are going to talk about CES, the Computer Electronics
Consumer
Electronics.
Hello, consumer.
Vaguely. Oh, I was there. I must have walked about 20 miles in 3 days.
I understand you had internet problems while you were there.
Everyone did.
Oh,
we were at Capcom, and they're like, the Dark Void trailer should be on our press site. I'm like, called home base. They're not there. They were still trying to upload them from their hotel room too.
Yeah, we were going about 11 or 12 kilobytes up.
Yeah, 12K upload to upload our videos.
14 on a good hour, good stretch.
It would have been quicker for you to put it on a courier and send him from Las Vegas to
And
LA.
a pigeon.
Yeah, that flight was quick. It's like 39 minutes.
You could put Johnny on a cycle and say, had him pedal his way to LA.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I clicked on an HD video on Game Trailers and tried to watch it, and it took about an hour before I could stream it. That's how bad the connection was.
Wow. You
It
shouldn't
was
watch
awful.
videos on game trailers anyway.
Yeah,
so
I know, they
disaster.
suck.
Just leave comments.
Kind of like all the message board kids that don't actually play video games. Anyway, so CES, not really a game-centric show per se. Of course, everyone probably knows that back in the day, the game element of CES became so big that it had to splinter off, and that's what became E3. 2 years ago, they really tried to have a resurgence of games at CES, and I thought that year was great. And then last year really sucked for games
Yeah,
content.
me and Daniel
Yeah.
were there last year, and it sucked. Donkey balls? Probably donkey balls, yeah. This year was a little bit better.
A little.
I felt.
Yeah, I think that there was less stuff there than last year, but the stuff they had was better.
It was better. I'd
the
agree.
quality, yeah.
What was the one game that stuck out for you guys at the show?
I don't know about one game, but I know Sony definitely brought a pretty good lineup. Their press conference, they had Resistance and Killzone and Infamous there, and then
Patapon in
SOE.
English. That's the only thing I care about.
SOE had DC Universe and Free Realms.
Well,
Yeah,
then
well,
Microsoft
DC
had a press conference and didn't really mention anything about their games at all.
They had the
Yeah.
actual 12-year-old girl, though.
Mike, you saw the whole thing, right?
Yeah, Rich and I were watching it back here, and that thing was just a snoozer. It was boring.
Why was Robbie Bach even there?
I don't even know what they were doing with that. I mean, they had the mention of Halo on there, and we're like, okay, maybe we'll get something new for Halo, and then nothing. Just go into that casual stuff. They went into that 1 versus 100 and that casual game development thing. It was a...
Well, EA was running that line there too. All they showed
Yeah.
were like the casual, like kids games.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
My Sims is now its own separate franchise.
Yeah, they
from
have
The
My
Sims.
Sims Party, and they had Sim Animals. And they showed deers mating, which means they just kind of neck, and then a baby pops out of a cloud.
I mean,
wow.
Isn't that how babies are made?
some of the Sim stuff goes back years, though. I mean, they used to have, in the days of SimCity, you'd have SimAnt and
Sim Ant was
Farm
great,
and
yeah.
all
It was
that sort of
great.
stuff. But I'm assuming.
Yeah, but
this
it's like
is
a
more
sub
This
franchise
is the
now.
cutesy version.
My
isn't it?
Sims, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like when you feed an animal to a wolf, and like there's just a big cloud of dust
Feed.
until the wolf like appears by itself and falls asleep.
Is its gut full? Is it bigger?
Maybe.
Yeah.
The graphics are really bad, even for a Wii game.
Well, then Capcom had the RE5 party.
Yeah, and there's the new area, and they're riding on like motorboats. Didn't see the
Yeah.
alligators or anything from those cool screenshots.
Yeah.
No.
I found it
Probably
funny though
that
that
area.
people at Bloodworth, you mentioned, I went and looked, and people were complaining about the video quality. Well, they didn't realize that was a projection on the side of a building that was 6 stories high. And
Yeah.
it says that in the clip description, and for some reason people are like, GT can't shoot.
Whatever they do these squares. What kind of camera puts squares on the screen?
People thought that was a level description. Right, they're like, a 6-story level. What is this?
Oh, and the other part was on the other one. There was you know, Johnny could just grab the clip really quick, and there was a spot where somebody had stopped playing, and like so they had to like push past Chris to get to the lever, and people were like, "The AI sucks here." I'm like, "No, it's another human."
And it was hard to
No,
play
humans
because it was
suck.
like 20 below.
It was freezing.
It was freezing in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah, I went out on
There
the
was, like, snow
patio
the
where they
week
were playing
before
the
or
game,
something.
and it was like 20 degrees with like 40-mile-per-hour winds. People were wrapped up in blankets, and you
Yeah.
couldn't even see the game, man. It was like impossible to play it that way.
Yeah, Las Vegas is not the darkest city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too much lights. There was not enough contrast.
But a quick aside, Dawn of War 2, awesome game, and someone in this room may have a little cameo in it.
Oh yeah, they liked my name so much that they said they might steal it.
You should ask for money, blood. There's
Corporal
something in it for you.
Bloodworth.
So I have a question for you guys. I didn't go to CES, but one of the things I did see come out of the coverage was it seems like Sony have decided to get aggressive already with their PR this year, and they fired a shot across Microsoft and Nintendo with this whole comparison chart with regards to you can have a PS3 with all this stuff, and then if you buy an Xbox Arcade, a 360 Arcade, or a Wii, you have to buy all this additional stuff, which I think is absolutely valid. I mean,
The question is, do you want it?
well, I mean, the
I think people have made the
the
decision
wireless,
that they don't want it. They don't want to pay for it.
Well, I think people have already. I actually bought a wireless adapter for my 360, but I like the fact that my PS3 comes
Yeah,
with
that's
one.
nice.
But I think this might actually be interesting because it looks like Sony are finally perhaps getting their act together and targeting 2009 as a year where they can push on because they've got some killer games.
Well,
coming
yeah,
out this year.
their first quarter is really aggressive. But Aaron Greenberg, I forget his title, but he's a pretty big
product
big
manager.
wig.
He's
product manager.
he's
Yeah,
product manager.
he said that Microsoft's keeping pretty quiet on their 09 lineup for now. I mean, we
It's
know
pretty
about
obvious. We don't really know about
Halo
many games.
ODST. I was like, are you guys going to drop any bombshells at GDC? And he's like, no keynote this year. Probably not going to be that much at GDC from us. Stay tuned for E3.
Huh.
I just smell desperation coming from the Sony camp at this point. I mean, I talked to a couple people at the Resident Evil event, and I think they know that it's like make or break time for them. They either need to get it in gear now, or they're just.
Well, I mean, they are stepping up the game. I mean, what, 5 trailers for Killzone?
5 trailers.
Yeah, that's
Just
great.
bam!
Well, they've got Killzone, they've got Uncharted 2, they've got God of War 3 coming out this year.
They have a nice
This is
lineup.
obviously an exclusive. One of my favorite games that I talked about last week was DC Universe, and that's not coming to 360.
Yeah.
It's only coming to the PC and the PS3. So looking forward to that. So Sony actually does have a great lineup, and
They had a great
Microsoft-
lineup last year, though. I mean,
I think they've got a better lineup this year. And Microsoft hasn't
Definitely, yeah.
announced anything. I mean, we knew Gears was coming last year. We knew Fable was coming last year. We knew that Devil May Cry will also be coming out on the 360. But yeah, this year, I mean, Resident Evil will be coming out on the 360. But I'm not really sure of what else is really uber sexy. There's Halo Wars coming. Don't know how that's gonna work out being an RTS. So Sony. Hey, if Sony got their act together, I'm all for it because we need them to get their in order.
it also stands to reason that there are a lot of Wii games that we don't know about that are going to come out this year. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously last year was pretty anemic for them. Well, this is the other year now where all the games should be coming out that they've been working on behind the scenes all this time. So while we don't know about any of them yet, I think probably in the next few months we'll go to an event where we'll be pretty surprised with what Nintendo shows. So right now the 360 is probably the one that's in the deepest doo-doo. All right, next we're going to talk about, I don't know, I guess it's our brethren within the industry, all our friends over at Ziff Davis who work for 1UP and EGM. First of all, I think we should have a moment of silence for Electronic Gaming Monthly. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of grew up with that magazine.
Definitely.
Always looked up to those guys. Very, very sad day to see that magazine go. So we're just going to observe 5 seconds of silence in honor of Electronic Gaming Monthly. I can't believe we managed to stay quiet for 5 seconds.
We're throwing some like death sound effects or
Why is
something.
waiting.
Why is everybody pointing at me?
I kept looking at you. I'm
No.
like, I'm waiting for you to say something.
No, I've got a lot of respect for the guys from EGM. I worked with them when I was doing PR. It was funny. I was primarily doing a lot of PC stuff, so I never really got a chance to get games in there because they were console based. But there's always some really great writers there. There's people who've gone on to bigger and better things. And it's sad when another print magazine bites the dust. I think we were trying to figure out how many print mags are left, and at my count, I think there are 5.
2 in
print mags
America,
left?
Game Pro.
Game Informer,
6.
but that's
But I mean,
Game Informer and Game Pro.
Well, no,
play.
Play.
There's Game
That-
Informer.
Play count as a gaming magazine though?
Well, there's Game Informer, there's Game Pro, there's
no,
Play.
seriously. I mean, they're like manga and like.
It's 90% games.
yeah.
It's 90% glossy advertising.
They do have nice paper.
They do have very nice paper, and it feels so nice on your bottom.
Edge and
They also
UK.
gave
And,
Sonic the
oh,
Hedgehog like at
what was it?
9.5.
What was that game? What's that magazine that was just on eBay?
Oh, Hardcore Gamer.
Hardcore Gamer.
Is that still
Or
around?
Daniel
it's
Kaiser.
gone. It's been gone for a while.
No, they got distribution. They were selling the distribution and everything. Yeah, it's just quarterly now.
And then there's the 3 from Future, OXM, the PlayStation.
Yeah, that's the weird
Nintendo
thing.
game.
Future's saying their sales are up.
Well, of course they're up. Everybody else is dying. I mean, and they've got a commitment going in there, and their European stuff is still selling. I mean, Future is a behemoth in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, they have like Cake Decorating Monthly, Knitting Weekly, all these titles that sell hundreds and hundreds of thousands of units a week. Because
That's because
Europe-
every magazine in England is shrink wrapped and bundled with crap, like
Yeah,
bulky,
like-
bulky
Well, yeah,
crap.
they have the
discs.
DVDs.
Like no, like I bought a kids magazine, like a comic book when I was over there, and it came with like 4 candy bars.
Yeah,
It's like the weirdest
Well, that's
stuff.
the thing. It's easy enough to get that out and get it distributed. Distribution's very, very quick and easy. But anyway, I think we should definitely
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about One Up and what's happened to those guys, because that's just diabolical.
What the hell, dude? What is Yu-Gi-Oh thinking, man?
And it's
Well,
ironic.
supposedly
that-
they're going to be the best team up since Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah.
Well, I
That
think
sounds accurate.
Well, I think there's definitely going to be some toe jam going on.
Yeah, it's interesting too because there's been a lot of talk on both sides about who's really at fault in the whole thing too. Because Yu-Gi-Oh wants to make it out like, oh, we just hired 24 people. What do you expect? Blah blah blah.
You just fired like 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
saying Ziff Davis
And
did
not
it in
fired,
their
they
last.
were laid off. There's a big difference, but
Yeah, there's probably a lot of nitty gritty that we'll never know the full story due to like
As far as how much
gag
budget
orders
there
and stuff
was
like
and-
that.
Oh, look, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's going to be some anonymous
I-
blog go up in the next couple of
But
weeks.
have they said
Yeah.
yet if the last issue is going to actually hit store shelves?
The
or
Street
No,
Fighter one, no,
it's
it will
not.
not.
That's depressing.
they said
The
they're going to
January
distribute it
issue was the last
digitally,
one.
though. You'll be able to
There's
see it if
some
you want.
like the
Print it out.
preview is up online already.
Yeah.
They haven't announced what happens if you've got subscriptions, because
Yeah.
people around December time renew their subscription for another 12 months.
But I think a lot of them had got free subscriptions anyway, so I don't think that they're really. And plus, EGM died. Like, are you going to really bitch at Ziff and be like, "You owe me $5"? Come on, man.
Well,
All the
it's-
people that lost their jobs. It's like
Yeah, where is Sushi X going to go? It's a
Well.
hard time for ninjas.
I'm not going to ruin the Sushi X secret for the Ziff guys. I'll let them reveal that. But yeah, I mean, the one-up thing is. You kind of get it with EGM. It sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a print
it's
magazine.
evolution.
It's a tough environment for print right now.
Yeah.
But the one-up thing, man, that makes no sense.
Well, I mean, it's not the first time Ziff Davis has done this, because Ziff Davis, and a lot of people probably won't remember this, but Ziff Davis created the original GameSpot.
Yeah.
They had
Video
the original,
GameSpot.
they had GameSpot, and I know they had it in Europe as well. The first thing they did once it got relatively successful, they sold off all the European GameSpots, and then they went and sold the US GameSpot to CNET. And then they had to go and rebuild it all with one up, and now they've gone and sold it again. I mean, admittedly, this time they've got out of the gaming space altogether. Ziff Davis has gone from the gaming space.
Yeah, my first legitimate gaming job was at GameSpot as their magazine editor. It was my job to put all the Ziff magazine's websites online every month, and I would get it done in 2 days. And they're like, "Oh, well, we need to give him something else to do," and that's how I eventually started doing other things and got out of that. But that was my first official job in the gaming industry, and now there aren't even magazines to make websites for.
Yeah, and it's an interesting acquisition for UGO and the parent company, the Hearst Corporation. Cause,
Aren't they a huge publisher,
Well,
too?
Hearst Media is a huge publisher of
huge.
newspapers primarily, and their newspapers are tanking. All print stuff is tanking in the US. We know that. But I think it's interesting because I don't know if UGO and One Up are a good fit. I mean, obviously, yeah, they've let go all bar 2 of the people. I think Garnet Lee is still there, and I think Sam Kennedy is still there.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Parrish.
Jeremy Parrish. All right, so they got at least.
I love the frog.
They've got 3 pretty good guys, and got a lot of time for them. But UGO as a site, I actually don't like UGO as a site.
Nobody goes
it's
to
a
UGO.
mishmash
I
of
don't
music
think I've
and
ever gone to UGO in my entire life.
I did last week.
Well,
Yeah.
of course, everybody did because they're like, "What the hell?"
No,
is
I mean,
UGO?
I mean, I've been at big events where I've met some UGO guys, but they're all for the most part freelancers.
Yeah.
I
you
met
know?
somebody
And they're all
last year.
cool
I went to
guys.
Coachella, and I met someone from UGO who was writing for one of their music sites or whatever. That was the only time I've met someone from UGO. They're not at events, you don't.
No,
see
they were.
that.
I met some guys at Captivate and some E3 stuff.
But it's generally
Yeah.
they send freelancers. They don't have. They never used to have a big in-house team when I was doing PR events and inviting them along. But yeah, I mean, they're more of seems to be more of a portal site.
There's
I
a
mean,
big
their game stuff-
network of sites, like 500 ilovezelda.coms or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, now they've taken one of the one of the larger sites. And I'll be interested to see how they're going to manage it with having got rid of all those people, because if the rumors are true that it's now only 3 staffers and 306
It's way more than 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it just looks like a ComScore play.
Yeah.
Like they just wanted to buy one up in the Ziff network so they could add however many uniques that they get a month onto UGO's number, so UGO could then charge more for advertising across
But
its
if
network.
they don't have the staff to pull on the content, people are going to desert one up like rats.
But people said the same thing with GameSpot, and like
the
it was like-
Gerstmann Gate thing.
Yeah,
Everyone
like
thought they were going to
everyone.
crumble.
There was a huge exodus, for Giant Bomb, and Giant Bomb is doing great.
I think the big
but
difference-
GameSpot's still doing great. They're
It
beating
wasn't
IGN.
even a blip on GameSpot's traffic radar.
I think
no
the
one, you would
difference-
never even known that all that
No,
stuff
I think the
happened.
difference is that GameSpot still had a bunch of staff there, and my understanding.
Well, they all quit, though,
Yeah,
over what happened.
A bunch of people quit. Not everybody quit.
All the big
Who
names.
didn't?
Well, I think
Except for
Ricardo Torres is the
yeah,
only one that's-
Ricardo's up there. I think Andrew Park's still up there, isn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, editing the PC.
I'm
I
not
haven't,
sure,
I haven't
actually.
seen Andrew in a long time. But my point being that I think GameSpot was better equipped to handle an exodus as opposed to this, where you've got UGO based out of New York for a start, and they're going to have to transfer all this stuff over, and they've not got a reputation of having a bunch of really great journalists who write insightful stuff. I mean, yeah, Ziff has been hemorrhaging people ever since CGW finally got hand. Jeff Green went, Darren Gladstone went, Kristen Salvatore went over to PC Gamer, and that's just on the PC side.
Yeah.
So they lost all these great people, but they still had some good content going through. And I don't think UGO has any staff to be able to pick up that slack.
Well, OneUp, I think also GameSpot was. I'd say OneUp was a little more personality driven than GameSpot.
Totally.
Like people like their man god.
That's why I think that UGO did it purely as, the smallest amount of research would let you know why that site was successful. I mean, it was about the personalities that were working on the site, and
it's a very clear, typical layoff kind of thing. It's like, let's get rid of all the people that make the most money.
Right.
And keep the people that aren't making much.
But it seemed very random in who stayed and who went. I mean, maybe someday you're right. We'll see this random blog post from somebody who knows
A
the
tell-all
real story.
Tell-all blog post.
But the bottom line is that a lot of really good people lost their jobs. We feel really bad for those guys. We love the work that you guys did. Hopefully we'll get to work with you guys in the future. Good luck finding new gigs, and God bless. All right, next we're going to talk about downloadable content and how shady some of these...
Downloadable swindles.
Yeah, some shady stuff
Downloadable
going
content.
on. The whole Tomb Raider thing, they're saying now that the guys that were laid off from Crystal Dynamics are saying that the content they're going to sell as DLC was a part of the original game, and they ripped it out,
And
now they're going to try to sell it and make some money off of it. I think we all knew this was going to happen. We heard downloadable content was coming to the consoles. I think we all knew they're going to start cutting out content that they intended to have in the core game,
Or just
so they
locking
can
it.
make a bucks.
Just locking it on the disc.
it's been happening for a while anyway. You know that there are people have been I haven't ranted on EA yet this year, but I mean
Well, we're in episode 2.
Well, yeah, they do have the whole thing about paying for the unlock codes to unlock things on Tiger Woods and unlock unlock the various cheats and all that. So
Buying
yeah,
paint.
yeah.
Buying paint, virtual paint.
I mean, there's microtransactions where you unlock stuff already on the disc, but now we're also talking about stuff that's more expensive, and it's $9.99, it's $14.99, and it's actually ripped from the game.
Wouldn't Professor Layton do something like that? Where
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't paid for, but
Yeah.
they had weekly downloads, but they were actually all
That was
on the
free.
card, yeah.
It was a way to make you actually connect to.
That's pretty much, yeah, all Nintendo
totally
stuff is like
duping
that.
you.
No, I mean, I still think the worst, you guys have Samba de Amigo back on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
You download a little 2K file, and it's like, you downloaded a song, and I had to explain to my friends you weren't actually downloading real music, because that would have been megs, tons of megs.
Well, that's the funny part, is that the casual person has no freaking clue that this stuff is going on.
Well, the worst was Phantasy Star Universe in recent memory, where areas of the game were closed when it shipped, but it was also on the PS2, which, there is a hard drive. You didn't need the hard drive for Phantasy Star Universe, and literally you're just going to download a 200K file to unlock new sections. And it's like a giant MMO where you're hungering for new content from probably 5 minutes into the game.
Yep. And you have to wait for them to
Oh.
say, okay, now you can check it out.
But I will say, an interesting little story was when I was at CES, I was talking to one of the producers for Resistance Retribution. And if you hook it up to your copy of Resistance 2, it unlocks some cool stuff. Like it actually
Now, how do you
changes-
go about that? Do you just have the game and just plug it into the USB into
Yep.
your PS3?
And you go into Resistance 2 and click like
Connect PSP.
Connect PSP,
Yeah.
and you will infect your PSP, which turns you into you have the Chimera virus, so you don't have health packs anymore. And there'll be new intel. People will respond to you differently. It actually gives like a real, more valid gameplay. It's more than like Metroid Prime's like suits, you know.
Now, could
Which
you
was
play
just all
it
aesthetic.
through
But that's the other
without
thing.
connecting it, and then
Yeah, it will be
connect it,
different.
and then go back and play through it again without the health
Yeah, you can
packs?
probably toggle it on and off.
Yeah.
But the other thing is you can play it with a
PS3.
PS3
DualShock.
controller, which is cool, and that
That's
makes
good.
sense of why you have to have, why you have to have Resistance. Is probably helping with the code in there for docking and everything like that. But the infected mode, that's like real content. There's new intel and stuff, and it's on the UMD. And the only way you can get to it is if you also have a PS3 and Resistance 2. I asked if you could do like download a save file. No dice. It actually has to be the hardware handshake to unlock it.
What if you're the person who
And I'm
only
like-
has a PSP version?
That's
You're
what I
gonna be
asked the guy.
so
and
pissed
I
off.
asked the guy that, and since we do the off-camera interviews, he's like, "Well, people will be very happy with the amount of content we have managed to pack in there without unlocking anything."
What?
there-
But I
there's-
mean, you pay for it, you should have it, especially when it's there.
I agree with you, but there is a phrase that comes out here, and it's called added value.
Yeah.
And that's what marketing people use to justify taking money out of your pocket. And that's
Oh,
why
I'm
I
feeling
hate
ill.
most marketing people. Used to have so many arguments at Vivendi about, various things that whether they should be, full games, whether this stuff should be held back for DLC. We should, put stuff back because at the end of the day, I was a gamer and I wanted to see good games go out. And then it'll be, well, let's talk about what we can do for added value for the consumer. And I just wanted to get a gun and shoot.
Well, a lot of people complain about Rock Band and Guitar Hero that when they put the disc in, that they just don't have access to all the songs. They have to go play through the single player to unlock them all. And it's like, wait a minute, I paid for this music. My friends are here right now. We should have access to that full track list immediately. I shouldn't have to unlock things. So, it's been an argument that's been sort of,
Yeah.
brought up in other genres. And
Well,
Yeah, I think
kind of
that-
the other side, the coin too, is going back to Tomb Raider is interesting. Is there's kind of two different people out there talking about what happened, and one of the guys is saying is like, look, we're under deadline. We were never going to be able to get that stuff in there
Right.
anyways. So in a way, it's like this is the only way people would have seen it.
Plus,
But it
we're
just
talking
brings up another
about
problem.
disgruntled employees who are like, "Go." So how much faith do you put
excellent
in what they're
place.
saying?
But just to go back to your Rock Band thing, I think there's a difference. I mean, we've always had content you've unlocked as you progress through a game. That is fine. I mean,
I think
But
for an
the idea
adventure
of
game,
for
or
adventure
The idea of
I
the
mean,
party
certain
game
games-
is changing. Like I
Yeah.
remember when we got the WarioWare Wii game, Smooth Moves in, and it's like we had to you had to beat the first couple levels before you could even do multiplayer.
Right.
And it's not like its multiplayer was very robust, but it's a very fun game. That
It
you can
is,
just
yeah.
hot seed and pass it. It was kind of annoying.
But
so wasn't
and it's a
Raving
party,
Rabbits
and
like
it's a-
that as well? Raving
Yeah,
Raving
yeah,
Rabbits?
Yeah, you unlock stuff as you progress through. But I agree with you. I think for games like Rock Band and Guitar Hero, you should have the full track list out of the way. And then if you want to play through single player, you unlock the stuff, you can practice whatever, but you still get that sense of achievement by getting new guitars and all that shenanigans. But I think if it's on the disc, if it's not an adventure game where you have to get to a certain level or an
Right.
RPG, you should be able to access every aspect of the game, unless it's goal driven.
It's a scam. It's all a scam.
I don't know. My whole thing is with Resistance. If it had been like a skin,
Right, something
I would have
frivolous,
been
but
fine with it. Yeah, it's a little aesthetic, little treat, a little treat.
like the
But when
gun
it's
you got with the
but when it's
collector's edition of Gears.
That sounds
2.
like a beefy way to play the game, like a beefy.
Yeah,
different
there's
way.
another thing you get with Infected Mode. You get the Magnum. The
Yeah, you get an
exploding
extra
shells.
gun. But the plot's different. I really like. I love story in games. I mean, I know a lot of people don't care at all, but
Now, does the PSP version change anything inside the PS3 game?
Nah,
No.
not that they've talked about.
Really?
Do you have to actually beat the first Resistance to transfer it over, or is
No,
it
it's
just
just on the
have
main
it?
menu.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, lots of ways to skin a cat when you're trying to make money, I guess, right?
But on the flip side, if you do have the PS3 and Resistance 2, you can play it with your DualShock, and that second analog stick may help out a little bit.
But do you still have to play on the little PSP screen?
Oh no, you can just
Play it
do
on
it into
your
your
TV.
other input. Play it on your TV.
Cool.
The Chimera launched an attack that overwhelmed all of Europe in a matter of weeks. The original conversion centers were found abandoned in the process of being dismantled by Chimera drones.
All right, next up is On the Hook, where we answer your questions, and we're running out of time, so we're going to get right to it. Bloodworth, you have the first one.
With the announcement of HD graphics for the next Nintendo console, do you think this will attract more developers to create higher quality games?
No.
P.S. I think Marcus looks a lot like Joey Fatone.
Joey Fat One.
considering this announcement hasn't happened yet, I don't know if there's anything we can say about it.
You know what? We need to hire this
I
guy.
think
He
I-
obviously knows his.
Yeah, he does more than
I
anybody.
think this guy is misunderstanding a quote that happened like 2 months ago. That
Oh, you know this announcement then?
No, they didn't announce this is happening. It's just basically Miyamoto said, if HD penetration is high enough in Japan, the great word, we'll go along with what the consumers want. So if
I wonder how high he considers high.
I'm still wondering
it's one
what
of his
stats are.
if-then statements.
I know in like 2005, like HDs were in like 6% of homes in America. It's got to be
probably
like
about 40%.
Well, but
Probably way up
the
there
big
now.
switchover's coming as well with HD broadcasting, so they're moving to digital
yeah,
broadcasting.
all the old people won't be able to watch their stories.
No, my mom had to go buy one of those boxes. But I'll tell you one thing, it's crazy. The quality you get with those little boxes, even on standard definition, is insane.
Yeah.
But there is no announcement really. So
Yeah,
I don't know where this
mean,
came from.
And Microsoft said today, the next generation is going to be a lot longer off than it has in the past, especially now that Microsoft's actually making money and won't be ditching their system as soon as possible.
I would like the Wii to do true 16:9 on all their games in 720p.
I
would
love
be
that
nice
you
at
don't
least
know
to
whether a
have
game's
that.
actually running
Yeah.
in 16:9 or
It's-
not.
yeah,
and
you
you have
gotta
to
do some
look at it
guesswork.
versus a trailer and like, oh, I guess that's not right.
Well, my question is, why do games on the Wii not look as good as original Xbox games?
Developers,
It's as powerful, if not more powerful, than the original Xbox.
definitely, yeah.
Yet I haven't seen a single game. Like we were talking about Chronicles of Riddick, and I was looking at footage of it,
Normal
and I was
mapping.
like, "There's nothing on the Wii that even looks close to Chronicles of Riddick on the Xbox." Like, it seems to me they still got a lot of headroom they got on that.
Mario
machine.
looks
Definitely.
good.
Yeah, it does. All right, next question, Ryan.
It seems like this year's GOTY Awards, or GOTY,
and/or Game of the Year.
oh yeah, that helps, on Game Trailer and the E3 Awards, gave one game every single console game award. Why are the Best Console Game Awards not eligible only to exclusives? Because they're the best games, they don't have to be exclusives. We've
Wait,
gone through this.
Let's just read his
Oh,
question
and his
there
name
again.
is Revan
Why
Weaver,
are the Best
91.
Console Game Awards not eligible only to exclude? The award is the best game on that console. So why would you exclude games that are on that console? Just to give it to Metal Gear or
'Cause you'd like to
I can't
please
figure out whether this
fanboys?
guy's a PlayStation fan or a 360 fan, but he's one of the guys that gave those videos a 0 because either Metal Gear didn't win or Gears of War 2 didn't win.
And this is
I think the question is-
Revan Ever 91.
It's not a question. I think you're just trying to say our opinion is wrong.
Yeah. He just there's a lot of salty dogs out there
Yeah,
because Metal Gear didn't
I
win.
coined a term last week for, in German, it's the word opinion and fact combined, where you think your opinion is a fact. But I can't remember what it is, though.
Ice fishing.
Ice fishing.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
There,
I've had this
Raven
argument in the
Neighbor
forums.
91, like, just read your question, man. There's no logic.
Well,
in there
why don't you read
whatsoever.
his other question?
Oh yeah, he has
addressed
another
to
one
you.
for me. Addressed directly to me. All right, Shane, I'm calling you out. You recently said the casual games were the scourge of the industry, but in episode 10, you said how happy you were that they were expanding the gaming audience. Why the change of heart? I don't know that I've had a change of heart. I think my hope was a year ago that a lot of the people who were getting into gaming through casual games would graduate and start playing games that we like. And unfortunately, that hasn't really happened. Everyone's still happy to keep playing Wii Sports and, the occasional Rock Band or Guitar Hero here and there. I guess my expectations and hopes for the average person were out of whack.
I'm just impressed that this guy knows what you said 30 episodes ago.
Yeah.
He's
Mad
probably
props.
He's probably got a picture of you on his wall.
I hope
Or
not.
maybe
some
he just listened to
candles.
them all this last weekend.
Yeah.
quite possibly.
Could be. So, Revan Neighbor, you're right. I was wrong. I really thought that it would expand the audience, would get those people into the games that we really enjoy. That hasn't been the case, and now casual games are the scourge of the industry. One last question for Marcus.
All right. What's your opinion about the goal levels in the games these days, and how much do you folks think that the game companies will tone things down to avoid getting lawsuits just because of these goal levels? I'm mainly thinking about the criticism that Gears of War 2 and Fallout 3. Damn, I wasn't going to say Fallout 3 this episode.
Maybe we need to create a
in
rule that we're not
Sweden.
allowed to. Fallout 3 is like one word we can't say.
Yeah,
on the show.
it's on my
Bleep it
ban
out.
list. But anyway, it got into trouble in Sweden, where Starbreeze is from, because of its gore levels and threats about going to court with it. Side note, you guys are awesome. Well, yes, we are.
Thanks, Harada.
I think the problem is with
I'll never get his complaints, really.
well, the problem we've got with the gore levels is that we can have a gory game in one country, but we can't have it in another. It's all down to individual laws for individual countries.
Resident Evil 4, I think, is one of the better examples. You can't have the decapitation scene in there.
Yeah,
in Japan.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
in Germany, I know they've in the past, games like Carmageddon would come out in Germany, and they had to change the blood to green.
Yeah.
Or the enemies would suddenly be robots instead of people.
Oh yeah, or zombie grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like zombie little old ladies that you run over. So it's one of those things that is horses for courses. It's different countries, and everybody, in an ideal world, people, will just do one version and then start, slicing stuff out or turning stuff on and off. But again, we've seen that happen with Hot Coffee, where stuff has been left in, people have unlocked it. It's always going to be tough when you've got games going into different territories.
Honestly, I wish they would just say screw it and just really start making AO games.
I would like
Make
that
gore,
too.
not war.
But yes, until Walmart gets out of the video game industry here in the U.S., we're going to be screwed because they will not sell.
They won't carry it, but I mean, do you have to sell 4 million copies of every game you make?
Well, I mean,
No.
that's maybe where PC games, will start to come through, and perhaps most people are developing more because at the end of the day, you don't have to go through certification. You can create your own, your game. You can sell it online now that the bandwidth is available, and maybe we will see some decent AO games. Somebody will, fund something. But I think any publicly traded company, any member of the ESA, anybody who deals with Walmart, EB, etc. here in the US, they won't touch an AO game with a barge pole.
We need to start our own game company.
We do.
Yeah. The Nintendo,
Yeah.
Microsoft, and Sony, they won't even license AO games
No,
for
they
you.
won't.
If you make it, they'll just say no.
Yeah,
You
they'll
can't- they won't
refuse
license it for you.
flat out.
So you're kind of screwed right there. So you got to change them first.
But imagine if you created a game with such a wave of hype
Make our
that
own
they could
console.
never, it's like our own console, that they could not turn it down.
Well, I think we
Do you
should
think
call
if Grand Theft Auto 5, the next one, went so far overboard that it got an AO, do you think Microsoft and Sony wouldn't let it be released on a
No, that'd probably be
console?
like the whole comic code thing when like Image splintered off from Marvel. And
Yeah.
like, hey, all these Image comics without the comic code are suddenly at newsstands because they know they're going to sell.
Right.
Well, I think the problem will be that if Microsoft and Nintendo and PlayStation, Sony, thank you, held their ground and said, no, we're not putting an AO game out, then GTA 5 perhaps would never see the light of day.
Well, you can put them out in Japan. They just, keep them behind the
Then you sell like
sales
10 of
cabinet.
And,
And Sega, tons of Sega Saturn was a dirty, dirty little girl.
all the,
Yeah.
all,
Oh,
the
yeah.
all the arrow gays over
Yeah.
there.
Saucy. But going back to starting our own game company, can we call it gashgames.com?
We're going to bleep that, I hope.
The vertical smile.
Hairy clam chowder.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up this week's edition of Invisible Walls. Thanks so much for watching / listening. Once again, mad respect out to the Ziff guys. Good luck landing on your feet. We're going to miss OneUp.com. We're going to miss Electronic Gaming Monthly. Much respect. We'll see you next week. IW out.